Hey everybody, I wanted to send out a brief email and say thank you for voting me into the top five in the number 3 slot, and we're going strong. It's time for a mini comeback going into the next round because I have to be in the number 2 slot at least to continue into the next round. So, and we'll get into the particulars of what's going to happen in the next round if I'm in the 2 slot or the 1 slot. But I know we can get there, and I appreciate your continued support. I know these updates can get tedious and intrusive, and I appreciate you guys and having patience with me as I navigate this process for the first time. And in that light, I want to get to what's more important, which is sharing a little bit more of myself with you so you know who it is you're actually voting for. And so one of the things I'd like to share with you today, which is very difficult for me to do, but I share it because I know that because my calling is as an artist, and unless I share myself honestly, I can't do that. And so I don't feel the need to share my whole story, but I do want to share a little bit of my background so that you know what fuels my music, which also comes down to my relationships. So without further rambling, the thing I wanted to talk about today is comeback. And I was inspired this morning on a walk with my dog. And comeback was the word that came to my head. And I started thinking, does comeback mean because I'm in 3rd place? No, I feel good about where I'm at. I feel confident. I feel great. I feel secure. I know we're going to go forward. So trying to think what comeback is about, and it didn't take me long to figure out that comeback for me means going beyond my complex childhood trauma and saying that to the child that's in me that you didn't pick the wrong dreamer. You picked the right horse, so to speak. Part of that stems from, now the part that I want to talk about here stems from how I find light in the darkness that I went through regarding that trauma. Part of that trauma, and I'm not blaming anybody, nor am I telling anybody how to parent. I'm only ever speaking from my perspective and how I was affected, and not even commenting on anybody's parenting style or caregiving style, more commenting on my needs and how those needs were reflected and came out in this. I just want to be clear about that. And if I'm over explaining, please forgive me. But I don't want there to be confusion because I don't want people to think I'm judging anybody for being human. My parents did the best that they could. That being said, there were a lot of people around me at the time that didn't cause me to feel seen, and I didn't feel like my no meant much. And a big significant thing that happened to me happened early on, which was that I was diagnosed with ADHD. I never felt like being diagnosed to begin with, so that was a real problem for me. And obviously I didn't have those words, but I never was worried. I was just going about my life. And perhaps that didn't fit into a paradigm that, would have been easier for those around me, as neurotypical children usually do. But then again, I'm not here to make anybody's life easier. I'm here to discover me. So when I say no to medication, it's because I actually have autism and I'm more self-aware. And I understood that my body is my body and I should be able to decide what goes in my body. And it's not that people don't have the right to disagree with me. I welcome disagreement. I welcome discussion and debate. But I don't welcome an argument that tells me that my perspective on my own well-being doesn't count because I'm a child. That's a problem, which isn't to say that parents should not and do not and are not responsible to their children to make choices that go beyond their children's perhaps understanding. I needed support. I needed a lot of support, just like any child. But I needed support that saw me more than that support recognized fear, or therapists, or teachers, who are all doing their best and nevertheless are feeling rushed and feeling propelled to get this, solve this, understand this, get him on the right track, get him here, go there. And I feel for that fear. I'm not a parent, and hopefully I will be. I want to be, but I'm not a parent yet, so I don't know what it's like to have that fear. And I'm not saying that fears aren't valid. Fears are real, and they have room, and they should have space. And that's the point, is that if I make the proper space for me, because of these things that I went through, I was filled with such fear and anxiety that I gave up on myself. And while I am the only one responsible for my life, those who bring me to that responsibility when I am vulnerable as a child are responsible for how they do that. And I'm responsible to my anger, and I'm responsible to my joy, and I'm responsible to my sadness, and I'm responsible, most importantly, to not lose myself. And part of not losing myself, the biggest part of not losing myself, and this is what I hope comes out in my music, if not in my tone here, because I use too many words, blah, 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 is that the violence I suffered as a child was severe, and it was significant. And I want to make room in my heart, because the artist calls me to, and the artist in me is that direct spiritual connection in me to my source. Because everything I do is improv. Even the songs I write start from this emotional click or spark or whatever. I'm walking my dog and I hear in my head, come back. So, it's not about hating those who hurt me, and it's not about condemning them. It's about holding space and making room for both of us, so that we can hold ourselves accountable in ways that bring us to love ourselves, so that we can be the expression of that love and that embodiment of love towards everyone we meet. I have seen people hurting on the street with no home. And my wife will tell you, I have walked up to him, to people, and just sat down and sat with them or given them a hug. And they give me a hug back. It doesn't need to be much. And I'm not telling you to put yourself in danger. I'm telling you to read the face of the person you're looking, read the eyes of the face of the person you're looking into before you make a judgment. And I'm saying that for me mostly. Because the things that happened to me were not the trauma. It's the way I responded to those things that was the trauma. And now I'm healing. And so this is a part of that healing. And I hope this video has made an impact on you in some way that causes you to see your own healing in a way perhaps you might not have before. Because beyond any competition or contest or, schooling or format of, government or structure of society, at our base, when I look into the eyes of a stranger, I feel connected. Maybe that's just in my head, but isn't everything in my head? And so what? Isn't that better than hating that stranger because I'm afraid of what's in my head that I'm projecting onto that stranger? And I don't have to hug him. I don't have to interact with him. But I don't have to hate him. Or her. I can let people use a bathroom because they need to go to the bathroom. I can let people hold hands in the street because I want to love and I know what love looks like. Okay, that's 10 minutes. Thank you, guys.